Johnny Depp stayed silent while Amber painted him as a monster, but now 7 leaked stories have turned the spotlight back on her. From hidden texts to courtroom betrayals, each revelation is more shocking than the last. Watch closely because the final story changes everything you thought you knew.
Which makeup palette didn't even exist during their marriage? How did a single makeup palette damage a $100 million defense? On April 12, 2022, Amber Heard's attorney Elaine Bredehoft held up Milani's all-in-one correcting kit in front of the jury. She claimed Amber used it every day between 2014 and 2016 to cover bruises she said were caused by Johnny Depp. But less than 2 weeks later, on April 21st, 2022, Milani Cosmetics posted a TikTok.
There's one thing you can expect from me, and that's the unexpected. 'Cause I'm an international super spy. Super spy!
That quickly exploded across the internet. Their caption read, "Our correcting kit launched in December 2017. This wasn't speculation. Milani included receipts, catalog screenshots, and official release dates proving the product didn't even exist during the years Amber claimed she relied on it. By the time the jury heard about this timeline error, the video had been viewed more than 5 million times in just 48 hours. Major networks like BBC, CNN, and NBC picked up the story, highlighting it as the first factual inconsistency that didn't depend on personal testimony or opinion. If you were watching the trial live, you could almost feel the momentum shift in the room the moment this evidence was confirmed. Legal analysts on Court TV called it a factual error any juror could understand without special knowledge. It wasn't about bias, it was about simple dates that didn't match. This single makeup palette became a symbol, a detail so easy to verify that it made people wonder how many other claims could fall apart under the same scrutiny. And if one makeup kit could unravel a story this big, imagine what the next pieces of evidence would reveal. Why did Amber's dog testimony backfire overnight?
My dog stepped on a bee.
Objection, relevance.
Was the dog story proof or projection? On May 4th, 2022, Amber Heard testified under oath that Johnny Depp had dangled their teacup Yorkie, Boo, out of a moving car window while howling like an animal. She described the moment as terrifying, claiming she thought Depp might drop the dog onto the highway. Her testimony painted a vivid picture meant to show reckless, abusive behavior, but within 24 hours, a video began circulating on TikTok that flipped the narrative completely. The clip, filmed during a road trip near Los Angeles in late 2015, showed Amber herself smiling and holding a small dog outside the window of a moving car. Internet sleuths quickly confirmed the footage's authenticity using license plate geotags and timestamp overlays. Fact-checking website Snopes reviewed the evidence and labeled it verified, video is authentic. The video rocketed to over 10 million views across social media platforms within 3 days. News outlets from TMZ to The Independent covered the clip as another blow to Heard's credibility. Analysts pointed out that while this didn't prove she fabricated all her claims, it created an immediate contradiction. If she herself held a dog out the window, how could she convincingly accuse Depp of the same act as evidence of cruelty? This was just one example where a single video turned public opinion overnight, and it wouldn't be the last time her own past actions would come back to challenge her story. How metadata showed possible photo manipulation.
And keeping this exhibit up, can we please do a split screen and also pull up defendant 713, which has already been admitted? Ms. Heard, you testified yesterday. This is also a photograph of you from the same night, correct?
How can hidden timestamps unravel a testimony? On May 25th, 2022, forensic imaging expert Norbert Neumeister testified about Amber Heard's bruise photos. He had 30 years of experience analyzing image authenticity. Using EXIF metadata, the hidden data embedded in every digital photo, Neumeister found serious inconsistencies. 3 images that were supposed to be taken minutes apart showed different dimensions and file sizes, different software signatures, timestamps over an hour apart.
The vanity light, the makeup lights, you know, the more yellow hued ones that go around the mirror on, and then the one on the right looks like it doesn't have those.
Isn't it true you just edited these photographs?
No, I've never edited a photograph.
2016, December 17th, 1 a.m., 3:52 GMT, and 2 a.m., 14:27 GMT. One file listed Adobe Photoshop CC as the software origin, not an iPhone. Another showed clear evidence of export and resaving. Depp's lawyers presented the photos side by side. One looked darker, with bruises appearing more severe. The other was brighter and less alarming. Amber insisted it was just lighting differences, but Neumeister disagreed. These are separate files processed in editing software. During closing arguments, Depp's attorneys called this the simplest, most objective proof of manipulation. Jurors later told Good Morning America this moment was very important in their deliberations. It was one of the few pieces of evidence that didn't depend on memory or opinion. It was technical fact. If these photos weren't reliable, what did that mean for the rest of her story? Was this the sentence that cost her $10 million? Could a single remark decide a multi-million-dollar case? In her final week on the stand, May 26, 2022, Amber Heard made a statement that turned a tense defamation trial into what many analysts called an open and shut legal question. While explaining her reasons for writing the now famous op-ed, she looked at the jury and said, "That's why I wrote the op-ed. I was speaking to that phenomenon." She was referring to the backlash she claimed she faced after accusing Johnny Depp of abuse. The 2018 Washington Post piece was headlined, "I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath." Throughout the trial, her defense team insisted this article was about domestic violence as a social issue, not about Depp personally. That distinction mattered because, under US defamation law, Depp had to prove that the op-ed was of and concerning him. Without that proof, no damages could be awarded. But when Amber made that one statement, she erased the entire strategy her lawyers had spent weeks defending. Legal commentator Emily D. Baker, a former deputy district attorney, said, "That was her admission in her own words. You can't unring that bell." From that point on, Depp's team focused heavily on replaying the quote and connecting it to every other piece of evidence. In closing arguments, his attorneys repeated the sentence multiple times to remind jurors that Heard had linked her article to Depp herself. On June 1st, 2022, the jury awarded Depp $10 million in compensatory damages for lost earnings and $5 million in punitive damages, later reduced to Virginia's legal maximum of $350,000. This was on top of the separate $2 million judgment awarded to Heard in her counterclaim, which involved statements from Depp's former attorney. One juror later told ABC News, "That sentence proved she meant it about Johnny. If one sentence could cost her $10 million, what would the other inconsistencies cost her credibility in the eyes of the world?" When her own lawyers implied Depp was abused, how does a defense lawyer accidentally strengthen the other side? During the weeks of testimony, Amber Heard's legal team worked carefully to present Johnny Depp as the aggressor, a controlling partner who used his celebrity power to intimidate her. But in a surprising moment, one of her own lawyers posed a question that seemed to concede exactly what they were trying to disprove. The exchange happened during a recorded deposition of Adam Waldman, Depp's former attorney. Heard's lawyers were questioning Waldman about public statements describing Heard's allegations as a hoax. In the middle of questioning, her counsel asked, "Would you agree that Johnny Depp in these circumstances could be a survivor of domestic violence?" The courtroom went silent. For viewers following on Court TV and YouTube, it was an unmistakable pivot. Legal experts immediately flagged this as a major blunder. Under cross-examination, lawyers avoid questions that suggest the other party's claims might be credible. By asking whether Depp could be a victim, Heard's team planted the idea he was not just an alleged perpetrator, but potentially a survivor himself. Court observers reported that jurors took special note. The clip replayed repeatedly on Law and Crime and social media. Trial consultant Jill Huntley Taylor explained, "It gave jurors a roadmap to consider Depp credible." By the next day, commentary about the exchange was trending across Twitter and TikTok. For many, this was when the defense narrative began to fracture and the idea of Depp's victimhood started to feel possible. And if her own lawyers questioned who the victim really was, what else might jurors doubt by the end? Why mentioning Kate Moss opened the courtroom door.
Johnny swings at her. I don't hesitate, I don't wait, I just in my head instantly think of Kate Moss and the stairs, and I swung at him.
What happens when a rumor lets your ex's ex clear his name? During her testimony in May 2022, Amber Heard described an argument when she hit Johnny Depp because she feared he would push her sister down the stairs. She added, "I just instantly thought of Kate Moss and stairs."
Gonna throw your sister down the stairs like he had thrown Kate Moss down the stairs, right?
He swung at Whitney, and I had heard a rumor, a vague rumor about that. And so it's what I thought of.
That single sentence changed everything. Before she said it, Kate Moss was not allowed as evidence, but mentioning her by name opened the door, legally, giving Depp's team the chance to bring Moss in to respond. On May 25th, 2022, Moss testified live by video from Gloucestershire, UK. Calm and direct, she stated, "Johnny never pushed me, kicked me, or threw me down any stairs."
Mr. Depp pushed you in any way down the stairs?
No.
During the course?
She explained that she had actually slipped during a rainstorm on a Jamaica trip in the late 1990s, and that Depp helped her afterward. Her testimony lasted less than 3 minutes, but became one of the trial's most talked about moments. Footage of Depp's lawyer Ben Chu celebrating went viral on Twitter. Legal experts called it a textbook mistake, an example of how bringing up an old rumor can backfire and give your opponent exactly what they need. What a movie clip revealed about her denials. During her testimony about the March 2015 Australia incident, Amber Heard described finding a guitar covered in blood after Johnny Depp's finger injury. When asked directly if she had ever played guitar herself, she answered, "I've never played the guitar." Within hours, fans posted clips from her 2015 film One More Time.
What effort did you make to play a guitar?
I've never played the guitar.
Where she strummed and sang several songs. The movie had been filmed in 2014 and released on April 8th, 2016, right in the timeline she claimed never to have touched the instrument. While this detail didn't prove or disprove any violence, it created another small but clear contradiction. TikTok videos comparing her denial to the film scenes quickly went viral, racking up over 20 million views in a few days. For the public and the jury, it raised a simple question. If she would deny something so easily verified, how many other details were exaggerated or false? One juror later told Good Morning America she would cry and then turn cold. The small lies made it hard to trust anything. Moments like this steadily chipped away at her credibility, trial day after trial day. If you found this eye-opening, hit like, subscribe for more untold celebrity trials, and watch the next video on your screen now. It's even more shocking.